Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Robert Newman. I'm a junior business administration major from Morehouse College. And today we will be introducing to you all bridge learning.
Closing the gap between technology and teaching. We've entered into a new world. I don't care what field they're in, be it a factory worker, office worker, medicine, or whatever. There is no place where technology is not used. It's getting harder and harder to find jobs. You want your kids to get a leg up? It's becoming a necessary ingredient. Office of Educational Research and Improvement, U.S. Department of Education. We just wanted to open with this quote to show you just how important technology is in our education system today. I'd like everyone to meet Ty. Ty was one of my students this summer as I taught with Breakthrough Collaborative. Ty is a 7th grader who loves technology. In one hand he has the iPad, in the other hand he has his iPhone, and he even does computer programming. Every day I told Ty, turn off your iPhone, put away your iPad, and totally disconnect from the world that he loves. And every day, the only thing he disconnected from was my classroom. So what's the problem?
So basically, as Taylor described, we have Ty. He's a 13-year-old middle school student. And ever since he's been born, Ty's known how to use a cell phone, a laptop, iPad, all kinds of technology. But when he goes in that classroom, as Taylor said, the technology is taken away. So what we're saying is that old school way of teaching, where a teacher writes on the board and students are expected to learn, isn't as efficient or effective as it once was. Now, here's a little bit of supporting evidence. According to leading psychological research, we've seen that the increase in technology, plus the adaptations our brains are having to the technology, is creating new ways of learning. And here we just pulled a little quote from the New York Times article, pretty much summing everything up. So we'll give you all a second to read that quote.
So who has this problem? Bridge learning is a solution for teachers. It gives them an opportunity to incorporate technology into their classroom. Some teachers just don't know the first step, so bridge learning would be their resource to be able to do that. So our target market, we're going to start right here in the Atlanta public school system. We're actually going to be starting with middle schools. There are about 15 middle schools within the APS school system, which means our target market would be 460 teachers.
Now, why didn't we pick high schools and elementary schools?
Well, that's a good question. It's actually a critical time for their brain development. Middle school students are still developing their deductive reasoning and problem-solving skills. Also, they can only retain about 5 to 7 bits of information. So as a teacher, you can't just go in and overload them with information. So what does all this mean? They need lessons that are varied, lessons that have lots of involvement. Therefore, technology bridges this gap so middle school students can learn.
So what is our solution? Our solution is going to be the bridge. More literally, our solution is going to be a website that bridges technology and teaching. It's going to be a website that teachers can get on and find different strategies and implementations to use in their day-to-day processes.
So as we all know, there are some controversies when it comes to bringing technology into the classroom. But after looking at some case studies, I found that those benefits definitely outweigh those controversies. The first benefit is increased motivation and self-esteem. When technology was brought into the classroom, it gave students a better sense of their own capabilities. Secondly, it prepares students for future careers. As we all know, some of the fastest growing careers involve technology. Therefore, their employers are going to expect them to know how to use it. And finally, it promotes equality. There are a lot of low-income students who don't have iPhones and iPads in their homes. Therefore, when you bring those technologies into the classroom, it helps them be able to compete with their more affluent peers. So here's a mock of what bridge learning would look like, and this is our homepage. We give the opportunity to pick lesson by subject or pick lesson by technology. I'm going to go ahead and pick lesson by subject. Here are some of the subjects that we all know and love from grade school. And I love to teach literature, so here's a sample lesson of what bridge learning would provide for teachers. These lesson plans have 2 components. The first component is an academic component, and the second component is a technology strategy. These lesson plans will be created by students like me. Students who have a passion for education and who also want to have the exposure to developing and creating lesson plans as well. Now I'm going to go ahead and pick lessons by technology. As we all know, teachers have different access to different technologies. Therefore, bridge learning gives them the option to choose lesson plans based on the technology that they have access to. So some examples would be having a smartboard, if they have laptops, or even if they allow their students to use their smartphones as well.
Now, our idea seems simple enough, so you would think that there are other things out there already that are kind of like this. And we found different websites out there that provide lesson plans and technology and what they do. But After our careful research, we've seen that these lesson plans, or these websites rather, aren't as easy to navigate as ours. They're difficult to use and they're not very well known. And more specifically, they're not tailored towards those students like Ty, 13 years old, and ever since he's been born, there's been technology in his life. So here's some of our competitors. First, we have Pathwright. Pathwright is an online file cabinet, if you will, where teachers can upload their lesson plans and different strategies that they use in the classroom and are able to access them later on into the future. Now, what we do a little bit better than Pathwright is we offer technology implementation strategies. So they have different ways that they can use technology with the lesson plans. Next, we have My Lesson Planner. My Lesson Planner is an online template where you can go in, enter in your information, and it'll spit back a lesson plan for you. But what My Lesson Planner fails to do is incorporate that technology piece into what they do. Next, we have Discovery Education. Discovery Education is a subsidiary of Discovery Group, and they emphasize digital media. So they use technology, but not necessarily in the way that we're going to be using technology. Next, we have Apple. Everybody knows Apple has a lot of technology, laptops, tablets, phones, things of that nature. And they have different strategies that can be used with their different technologies. But because of resources, everybody doesn't have those MacBooks and iPhones and iPads that, Apple has those strategies for. And the resources aren't really the strategies aren't really well publicized. And lastly, we have the app market. And the app market is big. It's like Walmart. If you don't know what you want, you can be stuck in there for hours looking for the perfect thing. So what we provide a little bit better than them is guided solutions. Now, how do we propose Bridge Learning makes money? We have the teachers paying the $10 monthly fee, where they'll be able to access all the lesson plans and all the different strategies that we offer. We did a couple extra secondary calculations to show that if we can maintain 5% of our target market, that's 23 teachers out of that 460, during the duration of the school year, we stand to gain about $2,070. That means within 4 to 6 years, we'll either be able to break even or turn a profit.
So our marketing plan has four stages. The first stage is that we're going to issue surveys. We're going to go into the schools and find out which schools need Bridge Learning the most. The second is we're going to create focus groups. They're going to be about 4 to 5 teachers, and they're going to give us their kind of weekly experience about how they experience Bridge Learning. Then we're going to have the analysis. We're going to analyze feedback, adapt to the needs of the market, and of course incorporate those new technologies. And finally, we're going to recruit. We're going to present at schools, attend teacher conferences, and utilize social media as well.
Now, our favorite slide, how are we spending $10,000? We broke it down into 3 major categories: our marketing plan, our website development, and how we were going to get the lessons. After we broke it down into the pie graph, we've seen that our marketing actually took about the majority of our budget, maybe 2/3, maybe 3/4. And it's because that marketing, getting that primary market, and that those first customers is so important. So here we have conference fees, food fees, and equipment. About $5,000 set aside for us to go to different teacher conferences and get our product in front of them. We have another $1,000 set aside for pens, pamphlets, and keychains, different little promotional items to get people asking questions about what Bridge Learning is. And then we have about $4,000 set aside for gas, car maintenance, and lodging. That's for us to travel to different schools, communities, and different conferences and things to show people what our product is. Then we have $1,000 set aside for website development. What we plan on doing is using a student intern to develop our initial website. And we also have $700 set aside just throughout the year so we can go back in and make adjustments, make changes, updates, and things of that nature. Now, although I said lesson plans, you don't see it up there. We're going to use a student intern like Taylor to develop these lessons, so they'll be able to publicize their lessons, and we'll be able to get those lessons for free. Now, in conclusion, Bridge Learning is an online website where teachers will be able to use technology implementations in their lessons, so they'll be able to use technology in their day-to-day classes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. You did a lot of work since you wrote your initial case.
Yes, we did some modifying to it and definitely made some changes.
Great, it shows. One question I had, though, you indicated that you were going to be better publicized than Apple. So I'd like to hear that plan.
Okay. Well, as we mentioned, Apple has different technologies like the phone, the computer, and the tablet. But the strategies on their website, you have to go in and you have to go to educational resources. Then after you go to educational resources, you have to find specifically what technologies you have. So for one, if the school doesn't have access to Apple technology, they can't use the strategies at all. And then two, if you have those strategies, this isn't like they don't have commercials on TV saying, hey, you know, try Apple in the classroom, try tablets in the classroom. We're actually going to be in front of the teachers saying, hey, this is a website you can use that can incorporate technology.
So your publicity is going to be one-on-one with your group, the Atlanta school teachers?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, we'll be attending teacher conferences.
And then in terms of developing the curriculum, you indicated that you were going to use
Interns. So they would be,
interns.
yes, so they would be students like me. I'm sorry to cut you off, General.
Well, the question really is, so in terms of testing the curriculum or research or just the qualifications of interns to develop the curriculum or the success, or how would you evaluate the curriculum?
Yes, the curriculum will be based on Atlanta Public School and their curriculum. They're actually developing it now. And so we would use interns like me who are involved in Jumpstart, Breakthrough Collaborative, as well as Teach for America, who have experience in the classroom. So we'd be following their curriculum, but just creating lesson plans, and like I showed, having the technology strategy attached to that as well. So we'd be following the public school curriculum. I'm making it wrong. You're welcome. Thank you.
I've actually been involved with a startup very similar to this a few years ago, and one of the things that jumped out to me is that there's 460 teachers in APS, and you're going to charge them $10 each.
Yes, middle school teachers.
Yeah. So at best, if you sign up everybody, you're going to produce $4,600 in revenue.
Yeah.
How's that going to cover all your costs?
As our target market, that would be, that's just like our target, our beginning. We showed that if we only get 23 teachers, that we would break even between 4 and 6 years.
That's $230.
Yes.
See,
No.
That's
I see what you're saying. We're not doing it. We're not charging. We're charging $10 per month. The calculation that we showed up there, the 2,070, is if we were to maintain those 23 teachers each month throughout the duration of the school year. So from August to May.
so there might be other models you could consider getting revenue, sharing with publishers of books, but teachers are underpaid. $10 a month is a lot for a teacher, so you might want to consider other people who could maybe sponsor them.
Great job. One of the biggest investments that schools have made have been in their smart boards, particularly their community boards. We know Apple is really not playing well with that. So that kind of eliminates the potential to take these Apple devices and then transform the material on the community board. So what are some of the other options that the teachers would use to present the material?
So I know that they're using smart boards, but we kind of on our website would give options. We only show 3 options here, but we would kind of give different options based on what they had access to. A lot of teachers do have access to smart boards, so you could pretty much say the majority of the lesson plans would be under smart boards, but also we have laptops and smartphones and tablets as well that they can find lesson plans that would use them.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dean. Thank you.
Thank you.